9:30ish. Good evening and welcome to the Village of Woodbury, what is it, May's Planning Board meeting. I ask that you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take your seats. All right. Some administrative items to get into before we get into the meat and potatoes of tonight. We've received a letter from the Town of Monroe Planning Board that they wish to assume lead agency status for some upgrades in Walmart. They're going to be adding to the drive-up pickup area over there, some changes to the building, some signage and parking lot changes. So I'm going to make a motion to authorize me to sign the letter allowing them to assume lead agency and also for our consultants to issue comments on the project on behalf of the Village of Woodbury.
I second that motion.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a letter that we have received from the Orange County Department of Public Works. Just to make the board aware, Chairman Gerver, I am the Commissioner of the Orange County Department of Public Works and the Administrative Head of the Orange County Sewer District Number 1, the District. The District and the Town of Woodbury entered into an intermunicipal agreement dated September 8, 1978. That was a great year. Modified in 1988 and 1995, which permitted the Town of Woodbury to discharge 635,000 gallons per day of wastewater to the district sewer system for treatment. In addition to the above, the 2001 Town of Woodbury entered into an agreement with Orange County to lease 30,400 gallons per day of wastewater treatment capacity at the Harriman Wastewater Treatment Plant, therefore allowing thereby 665,400 gallons per day of capacity. The rights and obligations of the Town of Woodbury under this agreement were conveyed to the Village of Woodbury in 2007. Thereafter, pursuant to the intermunicipal wastewater agreements between the District and Village of Woodbury, signed in 2011 and 2013, the amount of wastewater the Village of Woodbury was authorized to discharge to the district sewer system was increased to 1,060,400 gallons per day. Based on the 1978 intermunicipal agreement as amended, the 2001 lease agreement and the 2011 and 2013 agreements referenced above, the Village of Woodbury is authorized to discharge 1,060,400 gallons of wastewater into this district sewer system. The wastewater discharge from the Village of Woodbury currently exceeds this amount based on a 12-month average flow from January 2024 through December 2024. This is demonstrated by the sewer flow reports I am providing with this correspondence. I have those if anybody has trouble sleeping tonight. The Village of Woodbury is not permitted to utilize any wastewater treatment capacity in excess of the 1,060,400 gallons per day. As such, wastewater treatment capacity is reserved for use by district ratepayers and other out-of-district users. Since the district is unable to lease additional wastewater treatment capacity to the Village of Woodbury at this time, the district is requesting the Village of Woodbury to develop a plan addressing the excess sewage discharged by the Village to the district sewer system along with implementation schedule. As the Village of Woodbury exceeded its gallon per day limit for the entirety of 2024, further information must be obtained by the Village and submitted to the district for any development or project that would in any way increase the amount the Village of Woodbury's wastewater allocation discharged from the Village of Woodbury to the district sewer system. For any new site plan, special permit, subdivision, or any other application for development or projects that will increase the amount of the Village of Woodbury's wastewater allocation discharge to the district sewer system, you must address how the wastewater treatment capacity for such development or project will be met in accordance with the above agreement prior to any approvals. Thank you in advance for your attention to the concerns. Severely, Eric Jenga, Commissioner. Very worried to say we're over. Very worried to say we're over.
So in layman's terms, they're saying we can't add any additional sewage, correct?
Unless we're going to
For new projects.
for new projects.
There are projects that are already approved.
That approved,
And you
sort of
don't-
like the water moratorium, if they've already been approved.
Right.
Okay.
And so if there's new projects, then they basically need to figure out a way to deal with their sewer. And whether that's through a temporary septic or something like that, they can come up with a solution, or they can wait until the county approves it, or the county has.
So that's it. Do we have to refer new applicants to the county now for that?
That
Is
would have to be sent to the county. They want to be made aware of
Will they issue the final decision if we could go ahead with a project based on the additional
Well,
sewage?
this board would issue the final decision, and if the village itself doesn't have capacity, then you can't give them approval, but
Okay.
they have indicated in this letter that they would essentially give permission or not, but you guys have the final say-so.
So basically, if they give permission, then we're okay to
Right.
do.
But if the
If they
village
say
itself-
no and we still do it, then we get slapped and in trouble.
If they say no and the village doesn't have capacity, then you really shouldn't be giving them.
And if an applicant is denied because the county said not enough sewage, it's nothing on the village.
Right, because you don't have enough, if you don't have enough
Okay,
capacity, and the county
perfect.
said no. But they can come up with alternatives, that's
Yeah.
what the applicant
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Whether it's
That's up to the
septic or an
applicant.
on-site treatment plant or something,
Yeah.
something similar to that.
And it's happened in the village previously when, the county had they had a moratorium, thank you, they had a moratorium, I think by the DEC, and there had to be some temporary septics put in place. So there's options that applicants have available, we just need to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Natalie and I will be watching this with you guys.
You'll let us know.
Anything you want to add in, Natalie? Or?
I think so. I think Kelly covered, how we're gonna move forward and, the procedures there, so, unless you
Yeah.
guys have any specific questions on where the village is at today, or, what we're doing, I think,
We have made a lot of progress from where we were. The village is obviously doing a lot of I&I work and has done a lot of I&I work. I think Natalie spent a lot of time doing I&I work.
Yeah, last time I spoke to you, you were watching sewer videos.
Oh, boy.
You had a question,
You have a
Mike?
question?
That's the infiltration work, right?
Right.
Yes.
When they're trying to remediate.
Yeah, to make sure excess water isn't coming in to the pipes, correct me if I'm wrong, and using up some of our capacity.
Would one of the options for projects be for them to contribute to I&I work?
They could, that would be very helpful for projects to contribute. However, I'm not sure that it would get us, I'm not sure that that would
Satisfy the county?
satisfy the county,
Or
but
speak
also
to
we're not
exec.
sure that that's gonna help with our capacity.
the
We
issue
haven't-
with I&I is there's an investigation part of it, so you have to find where the leaks and the cracks.
Yeah, 'cause his lease, there's groundwater or whatever coming in, and they're thinking that could be excess sewage, right? Is that what's adding to it?
Right, the water that's getting in,
Yep.
through either the cracks or, a direct connection from a sump pump or something like that, which
You
is
guys,
legal.
they doing smoke testing and everything?
That's an option, to do if you think that there are legal connections in certain areas of the village. To date, we've been doing the cammering work, again, so that's like the first expense is the cammering, and then the second expense is, finding where those deficiencies are and repairing them.
Good enough?
So it's a work in progress with the village, but the planning board will be kept abreast.
That's it, so we just looked right and they tell us what we should do.
Yeah, and the board have any other questions, concerns they want to bring up? Okay. I just wanted to make the board aware that I was in receipt of that correspondence from the county. Anything else anybody wants to add or no? Okay. Minutes, offer a motion to accept the April 16th minutes as provided.
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. All right. And now into the meat of our program. Hartman, 2729 West End ARB. Review draft resolution for ARB and ridge preservation for two proposed single-family dwellings on adjacent vacant properties. Said properties are located at 27 and 29 West End Drive in Highland Mills and is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Maps, Section 235, Block 1, Lots 5 and 8. All right. Doesn't want to load. Good evening, Mr. Hartman.
Good evening. 2729 West was in front of this board for, I believe, a couple of months ago. Basically, there was a draft resolution done, I think, back then. There was an issue with the Port Moratorium, which I believe we have
Yeah.
solved. We have found the original approvals, that this is an approved lot, and that's.
Mr.
why
Kaufman was
there is no
very
changes
diligent.
since then.
Yes. So they're good. And on page 5, you'll see that this application is exempt from the moratorium.
As soon as my computer decides to load.
Ooh, do you want me to read the condition?
Actually, I think Natalie had a small memo, didn't she?
I do, yeah. Pretty much like
everybody knows, we're pretty much ready to act on the resolution. We do have some minor comments that the applicant needs to update the plans just for consistency purposes, but they can be handled during plan signing. So, one of the things is showing the stone below the window on the right-hand side for the 27 property, and also updating the ARB form to list the deck materials. So, again, really minor stuff, and we'll make sure it's done during that process.
Questions for Natalie? As you can see, my computer decided to finally load. So we do have a draft decision in front of us tonight for this applicant. So of course, after several pages of facts and findings, this application is exempt from the moratorium created by Local Law 9 of 2024 moratorium, as it involves an application for development of 2 lots that are part of a previously approved subdivision. Hickory Hill was the name of the subdivision that was previously approved. So we get into some specific conditions here. No building permit shall be issued authorizing constructions of structures inconsistent with the architectural renderings submitted to and approved by the Architectural Review Board as part of this approval, nor shall any certificate of occupancy issue for any structures constructed except in conformance with such renderings. Any deviations from such renderings will require further planning board review. All new windows shall be constructed of or coated with non-reflective material or anti-reflection window film will be applied to any new low-E windows installed. Prior to the signing of the renderings, the applicant shall comply with the memorandum of the village engineer dated May 16, 2025, to the satisfaction of the village engineer. In furtherance of the authority of the Environmental Conservation Commission, no additional trees are permitted to be removed for construction of this dwelling beyond the limits of disturbance shown on the plans. Prior to the issuance of the building permit, the applicant shall flag and/or fence off the limits of disturbance surrounding the proposed structures that shall be protected so that no additional trees are removed. Should any additional trees be removed, the applicant shall return to the planning board for consideration of replacement trees. See Village Code 286-8. Any of the trees that have been approved by the commission which are inadvertently felled during construction are to be replaced by the developer. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the building inspector shall inspect the premises to make certain that all trees designated by the commission for preservation shall in fact be in existence. In the event that the developer or anyone else has removed any trees designated for preservation by the commission without the commissioner's prior approval, the developer or property owner shall replace the trees with trees of equal kind to the satisfaction of the commission. Any retaining walls greater than 4 feet tall shall be designed by a licensed New York State professional engineer with documentation of the same submitted to the satisfaction of the building inspector prior to the construction of such retaining wall. Prior to the issuance of the rendering, the applicant shall prepare a 10-foot wide sanitary sewer easement in favor of the Village of Woodbury and the future owner of Section 231, Block 1, Lot 8, as shown on the plans, with meets and bounds legally described to the satisfaction of the planning board attorney, to allow construction, access, and maintenance of current and future sanitary sewer facilities. Proof of filing the easement with the Orange County Clerk's Office shall be provided to the building department prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Maintenance and repair of the sewer lateral shall remain the responsibility of the property owners. Offer a motion to accept the draft resolution as read.
Second the motion.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. All right. Next item, little change in the order tonight. St. Patrick's subdivision. Review and discuss materials submitted for a minor subdivision and site plan to create 2 lots, 1 residential and 1 municipal. Said property is located at 26 Hunter Street in the Highland Mills and is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Map, Section 220, Block 1, Lot 3. Good evening.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Board. My name is Kyle Barnwell from the Lobel Associates. I'm here tonight representing St. Patrick's Church and Parish. This is my first time.
Or just take it out.
Yeah.
This is my first time in front of the board. I'm happy to be here tonight. I'm here presenting our 2-lot subdivision at 26 Hunter Street. It is currently a 4.4 acre parcel. It's in the residential quarter-acre zoning district. It contains an existing school and rectory, which is currently vacant, as well as a 1-story frame house and garage. We previously submitted this application as a subdivision with a municipal use on Lot 1 and on Lot 2. We have done some internal discussions, and at this time, there's no exact intention of what Lot 2 will be, and so we're going to be making some revisions to our submittal to solely seek a subdivision, a 2-lot subdivision without a change in use. So We will be submitting back with simply a two-lot subdivision with the one-story frame house being residential, and this being a continuation of the use that is currently as an existing school and rectory. We received comments from traffic engineer and engineer on the project. We will be revising our submission and responding to those comments and making the submittal back to the town and the village. At this time, I wanted to open up to if there's any comments from the board on our application.
Questions from the board on the application?
I think until they get an app, but, you know, until they figure out what they're gonna do with,
Yeah.
there's not much.
Okay.
Well, right now, it's gonna be, you're just looking at it for bulk to make sure it complies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So we would be seeking a simple subdivision at this time. If in the future there was a use to come up, they would have to come back and apply for any particular
Yeah,
permits.
permit. Natalie?
Sure. So Mr. Bardwell already said that they're going to be addressing most of our comments, but there are some things that I'd like to review with the board. Most of our memo was framed off of the, unknown that, we didn't know what the use for Lot 2 was going to be, but there are some existing nonconformities associated with the rear yard setback for the school, on Lot 2, which I think may need to be referred to the building inspector for an interpretation. The coverage on proposed Lot 2 is 38.4%, where the zone permits a maximum of 35%, regardless of what the use is. So again, I think that's something that, at this point probably requires a variance, so the board may want to consider authorizing a referral to the ZBA at this time. The height of the former school is taller than what is permitted under zoning. Again, I think that should be referred to the building inspector for a determination as to whether that's a legally pre-existing non-conforming condition. Lot 1 contains an existing garage, that's an accessory structure. That's in the side yard where the code prohibits accessory structures except for in the rear yard. So that would be something we would refer to the building inspector. The rest of it, I think, again, we'll just look for the revised submission to see if it addresses our comments. There are some wetlands on the site, so this does require a local freshwater wetlands permit. The applicant seeking a preliminary subdivision at this time, so a public hearing would be required for both the wetlands and the preliminary subdivision approval. And then the only other thing I wanted to say for the benefit of the applicant is the memo incorrectly states that a SWIP would be required. So, based on the disturbance, I think you're only creating up to 20 parking stalls. We'll ask you to show the limits of disturbance on the plan, but I don't think a SWIP is going to be required for this. Okay?
Questions for Natalie?
Would I be okay to respond to some of those comments?
Oh, yeah, if you'd like
If you
to.
want to.
Awesome. So apologies for the mistake on the SWIP. There's no intentions of a SWIP being required. We will actually be removing the parking spots with the fact that we're doing a simple subdivision at this time. As it relates to the nonconformities that the engineer brought up, she discussed a few of them, including the rear yard being an existing nonconformity, so we're okay with that being brought to the building inspector. There was one aspect of a nonconformity which is built lot coverage for lot 2.
Show us on that one.
Sure.
Let's see this one.
So on lot 2, as we prepare our application, the coverage on lot 2 would be out of conformance for, and would require a variance based on the code. We think we can make a small adjustment to our lot line that would allow for that lot to be in conformance without a major impact to this plan. The other setbacks that the engineer mentioned would likely still remain, and with the interpretation from the building inspector.
Evan, you had a question?
I think he answered it with the coverage issue.
Okay. Any other questions for you?
No, really.
Dr. Phil?
My comments are all pretty much focused on the use of the gym and school relative to parking, traffic generation. So at this point, until they come back with an application and use for the building,
Okay.
our memo basically, May 16th, discusses those in terms of parking, traffic generation, has some recommendations on signage, but again, it's really tied into the use of the building.
Sounds like a fair plan. Any questions for Phil? All right, so I'll offer a motion to have Natalie draft a memo to the building inspector for any pre-existing nonconformity determinations that are needed. Questions? All in favor? Aye. I'll also authorize a referral, if needed, to the ZBA for any variances that may be required, so the applicant doesn't have to come back to the board and get it. Questions? All in favor? Aye.
You want to do a public hearing?
Yeah,
Too soon?
one question I was gonna ask is if, the board felt comfortable with the fact that we were going to a simple subdivision, if possibly setting a public hearing for the project?
Yeah, we can do that. No.
Declare your intent to serve as lead agency.
Fine.
You could declare your intent to serve as lead agency and type this as an unlisted action.
Fine. I'll offer a motion to declare ourselves lead agency and to type this as an unlisted action under secret.
Exactly what he said.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Can I do a public hearing? Can I
You
schedule?
can, but that will impact your timeframe.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it wouldn't be to June, it wouldn't be to the end of June.
That would be,
30.
It'd be the 18th.
July meeting.
Unless, yeah.
until July.
Do it till July meeting.
July? The 16th?
Yeah, probably the 16th.
Okay. All right, so I'll offer a motion to schedule a public hearing for July 16th.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I appreciate it, thank you very much.
Do we need to?
You do need to resubmit
Do we
before
need
that.
to directly?
I know.
Yeah, we're planning on, submitting as soon as possible.
That's it, right, Kelly? Okay. All right. Have a good night, sir.
Thank you.
Next item, Hartman, twin home model for Golden Hills, continued public hearing and review to amend the site plan ARB and ridge preservation for a proposed duplex residential dwelling located within the active adult community phase of the Woodbury Village subdivision, previously known as WP3. Said property is located at 49 and 51 Southfield Falls in Central Valley and is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Map, Section 255, Block 6, Lots 9 and 10. Give me 1 second, Larry. You don't need me. If you want to go, you can go. That's up to you.
I'll get you a letter to set the DOT.
Okay, thank you. All right, we don't, Phil doesn't need to be here for the rest of this tonight. Go ahead, Larry.
Yes.
Twin Homes, the Senior Citizens Development. There's been a couple of times before the board. On the previous meetings, we have established a design. There's a couple of designs. We have 2 different designs that have out before. Other than that, I don't think anything dramatically changed. We did address some of the HDMI comments. And nothing out of the design or anything like that, or the amount of houses or additions changed since the previous meeting.
Okay. All right. Do the public hearing first. Just ask you, take a seat for a second, let Mr. Hartman. Okay. Going to go out to the public. This is a public hearing for anybody wishing to speak on the twin home model for Golden Hills. Second call, public hearing. Just step up, sir, come to the podium. State your name, please.
My name is Matthew Berkowitz. I received a letter this proposed change. I just wanted to see if I can get a little more information on what the change involves. I mean, I see that it says attached home. Will that be for all the houses, or is it just for selected houses? And also, where is it located in the south of the block? It's on 52, see this is 49, 51. I'm curious to know.
As far as just to understand a little bit the project, so basically the houses are not gonna be bigger than the existing houses. That's gonna be much smaller than the one we see now. But instead of having a typical T, as you can see, let's call it lot 10864. You see over there, instead of those houses being on each individual lot with a little bit of space on 2 sides, we're gonna push the 2 houses, you're gonna connect them together, so in between the two houses, there's
Do I
gonna
not
be
have
zero
it?
space, on the other side is gonna be double. So it's the same
So-
amount of device, the same
Oh.
size, same space like over there. That's all, any of those houses, instead of being two individual homes, there would be one home, they would be connected together, but the same size. So let's take a look at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's only those six.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking.
5149 in relation to the
51, 49.
That's why I.
No, that's 348, this is 322, this is 352, 310, 384, and that's 377.
Talking about the address.
Which street, which street?
Southwood. One of them is 49, 51 Southwood.
This is, you can look on a bigger scale.
Yeah, just prepare it. This side is sunny, but
This is how it falls.
No, I think that's.
So you're probably right there.
Where's this proposed?
Oh, it's this one, and one, as you can see.
So this will be built this
This
way,
way,
instead of this
yeah.
way?
Instead of one house, two houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, it's gonna be built.
Where will be the entrance?
This side. So typically, actually, it's better, it might be better for you, because this would have been the entrance from this side, typically. But now, this would be both, from this side.
This is the right one. This is already built.
This is already built, yeah.
This is also.
This is already built.
And the lot will be the same,
Same size out there, doesn't change.
but it's gonna change the look of the.
The front looks, yeah, instead of being two separate ones, it's gonna have one longer one, put together, or a little bit more
It's not a
space.
longer one this way, it's longer that way.
For you, it's that way, for you, it's not gonna be, it's not gonna be different, because you're facing the side of it. Inside of the, you can see it there.
I mean, to say the first one, the corner of the house, it's already built.
This is not gonna change.
Yes, this is facing the entrance.
I'm not sure, it's built already, so I'm not, it's, it is facing inside?
Yes.
Okay, so this
This
one,
one is facing the
it's gonna face on the inside of it.
So it's gonna look a bit commercial rather than residential.
Commercial, again, whatever you want to look at it. Commercial is typically, it's a commercial building. This is gonna be a duplex. This will look exactly like that, but as far as you're concerned, you're just gonna see the small one. You're just gonna see the side.
You see the side of it, not the front.
Not the front.
So you go down the block, you see from
You
the
look at it,
houses, but this will be
Yeah,
the side and the long one.
yeah.
I think there's also elevations of the rear of the house too, if you wanna show that.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. My Vanna White's a
That
little
one's
off.
not gonna be, visible for him. He's concerned about, he's living
I'm living right across.
right across one of the ghosties. So
Now,
if you go back on the set, just to explain to the board,
Which one, Larry?
the big one, the map.
The big map?
Yeah. There we go.
now,
So he lives right across the one that is built,
Can you show
a
us?
little bit to the left.
Very-
I'm just curious, were the other neighbors invited to this public hearing?
So he lives somewhere.
Everybody gets a notice.
Everybody within 300 feet of one of the sites would have received a notice that there was a public hearing for this. It was also published on the village website, and for what it's worth, its Facebook page as well.
I received a letter, but
Should we say something?
as far as I'm
Chris, I
concerned.
think it was only for those within 45 and 49 and 51. I don't think the others were.
Okay.
Yeah, cause
I stand corrected on that one.
yeah, the application was initially just for the 2 lots.
Right. Do we have
So I'd have to check with the building department,
who they sent it? No, but that would make sense then, right? Because it was only 49 and 51.
right?
So they would have just sent it out for those.
Yeah.
Houses there.
So my message to you earlier was if they did want them on these other lots, and everything that we've been talking about is that they want them on the other lots, is that we do need an updated application to include lots 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 15, 16, 23, and 24.
And hold open the public hearing? Or
As-
a new public hearing?
You could hold it open to make sure that those other
Yeah, I think
owners
all-
were notified.
I think the other lot should be included.
Yeah.
But is,
Especially from what he's saying, none of his neighbors received.
I don't know the
Hey, I know,
mailings.
that, you know.
I don't get involved in the mailings.
I think we should keep the public hearing
I
open.
received an initial public hearing date, like for a month ago.
Yeah, and then
Right.
because of the holiday, we carried it over.
None of my neighbors received the first one, neither this one. So,
The notice only goes out once it goes out for the initial public hearing. They don't re-notice it when we hold the public hearing over.
so that makes sense, because I was the only one receiving the first time.
Yeah.
And now the second time, but I'm actually further away, because I'm like right across from someone else. I'm the next one next to it. So if it's within that square footage radius, they should definitely should have received the letter.
And just what are your actual concerns with the project itself?
I'm seeing it the first time. I'm not sure. My main initial reaction is that it looks way different in terms of the outside look and appearance than
Compared to what everything else is around.
lot.
Just let him-
Um,
Don't kite him.
I did not imagine to see this. I thought maybe it looked like even if they would do the same thing, just turn it the other way, so it's facing the same, would be much better, although it's still a change. But doing the change and putting it the other side, it gives it a total different look, and it makes it feel like coming into a commercial lot, in my opinion. But again, I'm one person.
Right.
Just in terms of fairness, all those neighbors should be here, see it, and then if I'm like the outlier, then fine. But everyone should have a say to a change that may affect their block.
No, I totally understand, and we welcome the feedback. We actually enjoy when the public comes down and gives us their input. It's not this way. It's not just the five of us droning on towards the applicant.
I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, it's my first time seeing it. It's
Okay.
just me, my initial reaction, but it's definitely a change.
And just, the information is all on the village's website. If you go to the Village of Woodbury and go to the planning board section, and you'll see where all the current applications are. So whatever's up on these screens, or whatever the applicant has given this board, is all there for the public to review. So you don't have to memorize everything tonight. You can actually go and look if you wanted to.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your feedback, sir. Appreciate you coming down. Anybody else looking to speak on this application?
Maria Hunter, this particular lot here,
Sorry, Maria. We can't see you.
I'll scream. This particular lot right here, this is a proposed lot.
You can take the microphone too.
That's all right.
We can hear her.
You can hear me. What's the this is right on the setback, the corner. When this development was designed, I thought it was within a footprint and to have a certain section around them. Which ones are new? Are they all new?
The ones that are these are all new proposed.
Which ones?
All these
All the
duplexes,
gray
these,
There's
no,
6 of them, right?
Yes.
All right, so this application only is, what I'm reading is for one. So right there and then, I would hope that we relist this with a proper application. And being this is still an HOA system up there in WP3, we have an HOA. In my experience, when there's involvement with an HOA, every homeowner in that HOA is supposed to be notified. I just ran into that someplace in another village, that every homeowner, because the applicant put over 300 notices out. So I'm just asking if it's the same type of procedure, because it's an HOA, and everyone should be notified of changes within the project.
If that's within their bylaws and things like that, that's internal. In the village's code, it's within a certain distance from a property line.
It's happened the same thing, it's within 300 feet of this particular project, and everyone is notified in the HOA. I'm just curious as to why this board hasn't asked every homeowner in that HOA system, because to do this project,
lots now, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. so we
Their
spent the
size
whole open.
bedrooms are gonna be
Well, would
facing
it
some
be
of the
smarter to
backyard.
close
Those
it
homes are
and
built
then reissue a
specifically
new one
set
way
in
up
that
front?
the
Because we
backyards
close
will
it,
be
we'll have
backyards,
time in here,
where
we're
you will
clock
see
sticking,
inside the side of the buildings. And that's just,
Still reissue a new
and
one.
are these, I have to look at
I don't think
the
so.
No.
online application. Square footage, just said it's the same,
It's similar too, yeah.
is it larger than
Hold
what
on.
was previously approved?
Hold on. So these are the comparisons that, and again, this is for the radius within where the original application was.
Because this isn't the 55 and older district.
Yeah,
Refresh my memory, they have basements?
some do, some don't.
Okay, so in this particular area, were they approved to have basements down with, because some of the topography up there can't handle basements, and just seeing the structure of one of the buildings, the height from the back of the building,
Yeah.
I know you go by average, the 35 feet. If this buildings are gonna be in the backyard, to another backyard, how are you gonna get a duplex and get a fire truck safely? God forbid there's some kind of an accident. That's all.
Thank you for your feedback, comments, sorry. Anybody else wishing to speak on this application? Kelly, hold it. Hold it.
I would say adjourn it to the next meeting, and it should be noticed for all 6, and the applicant should update the application to include those additional lots that I said.
So you say notice for all 6 for the public hearing notice?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. That's the May, oh, we're in May.
But I'll email those numbers over to their attorneys, so he didn't have to memorize them when I whipped them off.
So adjourn it to the 18th to allow notification to the other lots,
Yeah.
to include this, okay. All right. So I'll offer a motion to adjourn the public hearing to June 18th.
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay. You want to keep talking about the application, Larry, or what do you want to do? Because I know there was I know there's some feedback.
Again, obviously, we're not gonna change anything until the board, I mean, but I would like to hear anything from the board that, might as well, if they have any concerns or anything.
The only concern I have is the unfinished basement in a 55 and older. It's a big basement for a two bedroom home.
But if you take a look.
Uh-oh, you're getting tapped. Hold on.
Point of personal privilege on this, okay? As somebody who turned 72.
You're 72? You don't look it.
Thank you. But as somebody who turned 72, who lives in a 4-story townhouse in the Harbors, I also work from home and whatnot. We ought not to be entirely limited in our capacity.
No, and I'm not trying to say that. I'm thinking because my mother-in-law is 76, and she lives in a 2-bedroom, but it's a 2-bedroom living room, kitchen.
I've got 2 bedrooms and a loft upstairs, which is the exercise area, and downstairs is where my office is, outdoor space and whatnot. And if I had a basement, I'd use that.
No, because I know they have the attic, the unfinished attic space, which I totally get. You turn that into some office, whatever. It's just the basement in a 50. To me is
Just wanted to say that
Yeah.
it's the 72.
When these lots were,
I mean, just for reference, all the, I would say, probably 95% of all the existing built 55 houses have basements. So when we build the new ones, and it does have, it's a little bit of a bummer, it's, I mean, everything from all the way, I'm talking about from scratch, the ones, if you take a look at the images, they all have, so you start looking at them.
under the original approvals, were the lots themselves approved for with or without a basement?
it depended on the model of the home they chose.
Okay.
There were some that were on slab, and there were some that came with
If
basements.
you take a look, the biggest portion of the senior citizens' homes are built, I have it over there, say,
I missed your first word. What do you want to look at, Larry?
at the homes, the comparable homes.
The pictures?
Yeah, I mean, these all have basements. This model specifically Imagine not having a basement. In this house, you have to fill all of that with gravel. There'll be huge foundation anyway, fill it with gravel. And the weight goes, same goes to this one, same goes to the middle one, 85 cents. Imagine having to fill all of that with gravel. It's a tremendous cost and everything. So that's the reason even this small one over here, because he has a basement. You know?
41.
Almost every single one in Woodbury has a basement. Not to go there for those 12 units. Might be a little bit,
I'm not gonna go knocking on doors asking if people have basements.
I think really we should hear a little more a little more feedback from the public about the design when more people are notified to see if there's any more feedback.
Okay. How does the rest of the board feel?
I agree with that. I just have a question, going back to when the original subdivision was done, like what was the intent and requirement, if any, of maintaining a certain setting of the building within the site?
As far as the design or?
Layout, design?
I think a lot of that comes to ARB too.
Well, no, there was certain requirements that there were a number of model homes for each section, and that when the permits were issued for each model home, originally they weren't supposed to be a number of the same homes like grouped together when you looked at the block, so there was some diversity amongst the streets themselves. That was the original intent of the subdivision. That is kind of fallen away a little bit. But that was the original intent, if that's the question you're asking.
I think I know where you're going with your question. We'll go back and look and see if there were any particular provisions that were in the earlier approvals that spoke to the issue that was raised tonight about the orientation of the house. But I think that's
Right, yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going down, yeah.
And so we'll go back and we'll take a look. I don't believe it was, but I don't want to say definitively. Part of the reason why I don't think so is because there's nothing that I recall reading it that precluded the zero lot line. But it was provided for. In other words, it was provided for as a goal.
No. These are
So
new.
I don't think that there was anything like that that we'll look at.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
What there was, though, for this section is the approved front, rear, and side yard setbacks. And for this section, the active adult, it's a 0 side yard setback requirement, which is how they are allowed to basically have the two homes connect to one another. One side of the duplex on each lot. And effectively reorienting the homes changes the designation of the setbacks. So what was the rear yard for some of these lots becomes the side yard. And yeah, I think that's pretty much how it's changed. So what we've tried to do in our memo, and also I think it's going to be carried forth, I think it's in the seeker findings, the supplemental finding statement, is that we've asked the applicant to ensure that where there was a rear yard requirement of 20 feet, and now that's become a side yard for some of these properties, like say that they're along the T, that they maintain that 20 feet still, so that it's not, that they're not encroaching on the other side where somebody else's home, would have had a 20 feet barrier buffer, and now they technically would be 0, but we're still making sure that they're doing that, if that makes sense.
And we're going to take a look at that. I think, Natalie, that was in the most recent comment.
I think it's been in the last two, yep,
The last one.
yep.
We'll take a look at that in order to see what's what, because I think that the points are interrelated. It's the point that this gentleman raised, and you're just putting it in terms of labeling it regarding setbacks.
Right.
looking at the houses that are built now, so you have to determine, looking at a typical T, some houses are built towards the front, as of now, I mean, talk about single ones. Some of them are built towards the T, depending on the topography, the difference, because it has garages, the garages has to be built. So, looking at the original rules, I don't think they have set in a specific way each house how it should be oriented, because I can see now that it's different, and I remember seeing the original ones. So the way all these houses were submitted is once it has a front,
Right. Well-
For example, typical like this house might be built this side, but the exact same might be built towards the T, inside of the T.
Yeah, so like the lots that are at the end of the T, and there's only, I think, one home that's proposed in that configuration, the designation of the yards isn't changing, right? Because the front of the home still faces the T where it would have originally, so that front yard stays the same, and then the rear yard is opposite, and then the side yards fall between the front and the rear, and that's how it's defined in the code. Where the lots now that are along the T, the homes are facing the T, and therefore what would have been the side yard, so this is the T. And the home would have been facing this way, then this would have been the side, rear, front. Now the home is facing this way, so you have the front, side, rear. You know what I mean? So it's changing the designation.
The question is who determined that was the original one, because the original one.
Well, it's in.
We'll have to take a look at the original one.
Sure. I mean, I think that there were several maps that showed a building on the lots, number one. And number two, I think that, I'm pretty sure that the plat itself showed the setback lines on the lots, but we'll all look at it.
Any other feedback on this?
Right, just a second.
Do we want to go through the, I'm sorry.
She wants to know if it's still open.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does the village still have a code that a home within a certain feet has to be different? Is it 300 feet, 500 feet?
That's part of the ARB, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
ARB.
Yeah.
You have to have, if this house is gonna be purple, this one has to be pink, and then it has to be, and then the house over here can't be within 300 feet. Is it still 300 feet?
We still have to review similarity, dissimilarity within the 300 feet.
I think
So
that's sort of,
can keep that in mind as
Yeah.
well. And I understand doing a twin house, to me it's called townhouse. Are you gonna merge those two lots together?
No,
Because.
you can't.
I know you can't, but now you're putting two lots, two homes.
The board's talked about a potential condition where basically that middle wall cannot be removed to merge to make one giant house as well.
Okay, maybe this board should also contact the fire department and see how they feel about that. Just a thought.
oh, that actually, that'd have to be fireproof wall between the two
It
of
would,
them.
it would have to be.
It's like, I live in a townhouse and there's fireproof.
Yeah, fireproof walls between them, sure, absolutely.
From top to bottom, through the ceiling.
Yep, all the way up.
All the way
This
through.
way you can't travel through the attics.
They talked about that previously.
Do you want to go through your stuff, or do you want to?
I think there are just a couple of things that I want to bring up because I think they're kind of important. And, one of the things has to do with the wetland that is on one of the properties. We've brought it up that, if the applicant was to proceed with individual single-family homes, the wetland would have been avoided, and we provided like a schematic in our last memo. And then the applicant looked back and said, well, it would have been disturbed as part of construction of the road. When I look at it, it's like 40 square feet would have been disturbed as part of construction of the road versus the wetland itself, that's like 2,000 square feet. But building the duplex will eliminate the wetland. So, one of the things in the seeker finding statement that Kelly's drafted says that the applicant must avoid all wetlands. I think that's kind of how the language is. So that's one way to manage this, but then the applicant will have to relocate that duplex to another lot or shift it on the lot. So I think that, that's something that the applicant needs to think about, that the board needs to think about and, eventually come to terms with.
Could they put replacement wetland in?
So you have the freshwater wetlands section of your code will require a local freshwater wetlands permit, and that's something that you can consider with them, is, offsetting it. I think you've had that before, do constructed wetlands elsewhere.
We've got a couple applications where they've had to offset what they're going through or going over, so.
Right.
I just don't know if there's any room on the site
Yeah.
for that.
The lot is in particular unique because it's sandwiched basically by the wetland and then a natural drainage course that runs through the property.
Sounds like someone's gonna have a wet basement.
Well, that needs to figure out. Yeah. What else did I want?
That's one house you shouldn't put the basement in. Just throw it
Oh.
out there.
The only other, thing that I think requires maybe some discussion between the board and the applicant is that driveway issue for the lots that will be along the T. So right now, the driveway kind of marries up with the end of the T, and there's really no distinction between the driveway from one home to the other or the T. So I think that there's an opportunity to potentially separate the driveways. It will require relocating where the garages are for a certain model home. And the applicant has said that they think that that would create more disturbance, but in reality, the whole front of these homes, the front yard is going to be disturbed as it is to do the grading, and construct the yard. So I think it's something to think about. That's my suggestion. And then I think that's it. I mean, the rest of it, you have the memo. If you have any questions, please let us know. And the board as well.
Okay. Questions for Natalie? No? Okay. Do you want to go through?
No, I sent out, I'll just briefly mention.
Yeah.
I say no, but then I start talking. I sent out what I've fondly labeled second supplemental finding statement, just for the board to consider. I did only send it out today. I don't expect everybody to have read it and reviewed it. I know it was late. I sent a copy to the applicant to review as well. Since this is being adjourned, it gives you extra time to digest it, think about it, and we can talk about it next time.
I think we've talked about this one enough for
Yep,
tonight.
let's reschedule, public.
Well, it's already
hearing.
we already did it.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Oh, God, we did that long ago, huh?
Yeah. It's okay. Anything else? Do you see it? No. You already got your bag in your lap, so you're ready to go. Okay. All right.
He's going home to the place with no
Steve's going
basement.
home.
To the place with no basement.
No, with the basement.
Oh, he doesn't have a
He-
basement.
No, no, no.
No basement?
Right, no
He said
basement.
if he had one.
If he had
he'd
one,
use it.
right. Have a good night. All right. We're not done with you yet, Larry. 2 Country Hollow, review and discuss materials submitted for ARB and Ridge Reservation for demo and reconstruction of a single-family dwelling. Said property is located at 2 Country Hollow in Highland Mills, is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Map, Section 247, Block 5, Lot 15.
Like design represented by Hollow. A little bit of overview of this project. This was in front of the board in August of 2024. The board, it was asked to reduce the property, to reduce the size of the house, and change some designs, change the design. We did reduce the overall square footage with 22%, and footprint at 20%, to get it more of the compatible homes. Overall, we did change a little bit of the design. There was some concern the guy at the back curved walls that it looks like more continuous, but we probably add the whole one.
Is this the old one? Yes, this is the old one. Hold on.
Good, I was like, shoot, that does not look familiar.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I was gonna say, I don't like that one at all.
No, that is the old one. Where is the new one? 2 Country Country. Oh, hold on. Oh, that's Natalie's memo. Sorry, Larry, I'm looking for it. My apologies. Do you have it up? If you want to,
Have it up.
yeah, can you email it to me, please? I will fall on my sword for that one for not updating my OneDrive. Thank you. Sorry, it's the zeros and ones are matriculating through the internet. There we go.
Yes, I see the blinking screen. It's coming.
That's right, he pulled it up and I'm going, I definitely reviewed the wrong thing. See, I automatically assume that Chris is right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, a broken clock is wrong, is right twice a day, and mistakes happen. It's how you recover from them. It's downloading. Tommy's checking the score of the Knicks game.
Not yet. It's still too early.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay, so basically,
There we go. Oops.
the house needs to be additional, wider, so we, on the left side, we reduced it by 20%. The footprint, 20%. We also added a side, defender, which is what we asked for. Just a little bit, just to address one of your comments, this, just the way this is drawn, in the CAD, this roof is gonna have the exact same roofing as the rest of it, just because it's round.
Sure.
Somehow that's how it comes out.
Okay.
It's very hard to, but everything's gonna have the exact same roof, it's not gonna have any metal, roofing. We'll take a look at the 3D rendering, which you provided, same goes to the back, it just looks like that. So this is not just one more up, this is a little bit more. So this is the 3D rendering of the house, this is one on the side, now it's one on the side. Originally, this, you saw on the previous plans, these windows went down all the way to the bottom. The board did not like it, so I kind of moved it up a little bit. So it kind of goes together with the basement store on the bottom, and so it breaks it up a little bit.
So what's the total square footage now?
Total square footage is 7,492 instead of the previous, which was 9,559.
And the square footage of surrounding homes, do you have that?
Yeah, they're about 4,000.
Okay.
There's one up on Apple Hill and Janice that are bigger, are 9,000.
All right. It needs a lot better looking than last time. Not space age.
The only thing is
Are they in the 300 radius?
he's out of his,
Okay.
he took some liberties and used the metric system to measure for those. So when
So
you,
the immediate, in the 300 foot.
so it's gonna be 8, 4, and
22 Pheasant Run.
22 Pheasant Run, thank you.
Sure.
So 22, so those are all 4,000 square foot homes.
So you're talking about 70%, 80% bigger? That's a big difference.
Yeah, we've calculated it's 88% larger than the comparison homes based on
88%
gross floor
larger.
area and 85% based on footprint.
Wow, your look says it all, Evan.
Come on, Evan, you speak.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it's a reduction, but, I mean, just hearing that, seeing this,
Yeah.
it just still
Not enough.
seems too
Again,
big,
if you
yeah.
take a look at the comparable homes.
That's what we're looking at, Larry, within the 300 foot. That's what we're looking at.
So basically, when we did this design, I don't think the law was within 300 feet, was within the neighborhood. So we do have a house within 500 feet, which is the big one, the 25 Genesis, which is 8589. So that's why we put that in. If you take a look at the map, that's that house, yeah. If you take a look at the map, I'll show you where that is. So this is located, this is this corner. This is the property. And this is the 25 Chinese. Again, I believe, I don't think it was changed already, but it is in the process of being changed to the pair only to 300 feet.
How long has it been 300 feet in comparison?
The center.
Oh,
Since about I've been on the board.
300 feet comparison?
Yeah.
That goes back to Gary.
Okay.
That's,
So where's 500 foot comparison coming from?
What is that?
Where's the 500 foot comparison you're talking about?
As of today, this is in the law, that it's, I mean, I tried reading it, isn't it that is proposed now on today's agenda?
It is, but I think that it's been precedent and past practice of the board to consider homes within 300 feet,
yeah,
you know,
that goes
as
back to Gary,
comparison.
that's what was, that goes back to like Gary Thomasburg days, was a determination that he made. So it's not, nothing new that we, and then the law was codified to pick up the 300 feet. It never was actually written, ARB was codified to actually have the 300 feet in it. So it's not new.
No, I mean, but again, when I read it online, it said just available homes, but I think it is now in the process of being a law or something like that. That's what I saw. But again, it is in December. So within the 300 feet, yeah, I mean, doesn't have such a big house, but in the area, just inside,
You're blessed.
I guess. I just think 88% bigger is too much of a difference,
Let me,
in my opinion.
if you look on Google, and look at the map, for example, for all intents and purposes, those other homes are it's like a whole other neighborhood down the block.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
exactly.
Country Hollow is its own subdivision with Sequoia Trail. That's its own little subdivision that was done up there.
That is true. This is at the corner. This is at the corner. But the country hall has its own, its own subdivision, that's correct. But again, this is at the corner. This is not the.
Yeah, and we had another application up in this neighborhood around the corner where
It was the 14,000.
no, it wasn't. It was actually less. It wasn't as large as this proposed home, and the board took exception.
Yeah.
That actually was denied. That application.
That is a 16, yeah. The one.
Yeah, 16's like this one of these two lots up here.
Again, if it would have been 16, I wouldn't have proposed such a big one. It is at the corner. It does face, it is kind of southern road as well, so.
What's the rest of the board feel? We've heard from Evan and Tommy.
It seems outsized to me as well.
It seems what?
Outsized.
Outside of the, yeah.
Outsized,
Too big.
too big.
I think it was like a McMansion in Levittown.
Yeah. I think it's gotta be, condensed a little more.
Yeah, I just don't think it doesn't fit. I mean, it's just the design is better, the size is still, I mean, even the
I was
design,
gonna say, even the design is still a little far
but there's a
out
lot
there.
more, there is some more modern
Yes.
work being done up there. So,
Design
I mean,
to work with.
I can get more behind the modernness than the size. So, I mean, Larry, I mean, it's up to you. If you think you can talk to your applicant and sharpen your mouse, you're up to you, or the board can continue to review the application, but you kind of hear how the board is going.
I'll definitely notify my client about it
Okay,
and we'll see what we can do.
okay,
Sounds good.
all right. Do you want to?
I really don't want to keep doing this, but there are just a couple of things that I got to talk to Kelly about. So if the board is comfortable with, just talk to you, right?
Yeah.
About the lot area, I think that needs to be referred to John for a determination on nonconformities, and then also the original subdivision required a 50-foot front yard setback. Current zoning requires 40 feet. The applicant is complying with the current zoning, but I'm not sure if this former subdivision that was approved actually overrides it. I don't know, so that's something. It goes to John, okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion for referral for any interpretations needed by the building inspector.
Okay, and then I'll
And
just
questions?
leave it there.
That was easy. More questions to Kelly like that.
All right, so I think we'll leave that one.
Yep. See the next resubmission.
16 Janice Drive, review and discuss ridge preservation of a proposed demolition and reconstruction of a single-family home. Said property is located at 16 Janice Drive in Highland Mills, is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Maps, Section 204, Block 1, Lot 89.
Oh, hi again.
I hope I have the right one this time.
Hi, Larry again.
Ready, Arkin Design, presenting my client, Mr. Brock, Pacific Janice. This was back in June of 2024. We did submit a revision in December of 2024. Basically, what we did change of this house is also reduced it from 11,000 square feet down to 8,986. We did 9,858. Total footprint is actually within 82 square feet, less than 2% bigger than the neighboring houses. Than the neighboring house, I believe we got it down to 8% difference in the square footage, or 3% difference in the total footprint.
The homes within 300 feet are, sorry, I just was looking at it and then oh yeah, okay. 25 Janus, 26 Janus, and 11 Pheasant Run.
Yeah, you already have,
There's some big ones up there.
yeah, 25 and 26 are already big,
Okay.
and so is 11.
And size-wise,
You have houses on the same, on that
Yep.
block that are.
I just want to make sure it was all.
Questions for the applicant?
This is not part of our development.
No, it's not, it's
Yeah.
there.
Just as you can see, it's all different homes.
What about sewer usage in this one? Is it increasing than the previous?
No, I believe it's the same number of bedrooms,
Same
correct,
number of
Larry?
bedrooms, sorry?
But also, it's a private septic, right? That's where we are here? Yeah, this is a private
So
septic.
that, yeah, so that,
Yep.
that's a moot point?
Yep, it's a private septic, a private well, same number of bedrooms.
Yeah, existing wall and existing.
Well, it's not, I know for
They're not
sure
changing,
that.
they're not changing bedrooms, so it's not increasing.
We wanted to connect.
And it was
we wanted
denied,
to connect
or
to the-
maybe not decided on yet.
There is a sewer line, but they, I believe it was the board.
Yes, yeah.
They wanted us to keep that.
So you're staying septic, you're not connecting.
Is that an option if they're gonna rip it down and put it up again? I thought you had to tie into,
They're not in the water area, or the
Okay.
sewer area, so that was the thing. They went to the board for an out-of-area sewer connection, and I don't remember if it was denied.
It
It
got
was
denied,
denied,
okay.
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 Or if he just didn't come back, but. We did have a couple of things.
You go
if
ahead.
would like. So just, one of the things that was different, well, first of all, in addition to the sewer issue changing, the location of the home on the lot has also shifted a couple of times. So I think, originally they were gonna replace it in the same location as the existing home. Then they were gonna shift it up closer to, say, the corner of the property, and the frontage on Scunnamunk. And now they're kind of back towards where the existing home is located. So there was a tree survey that was done when they shifted the home. There may be some more trees that would be impacted now because of the larger footprint of the home. So if the board would like to see that tree survey just updated really to reflect where the condition of the home is now, that's something you can consider under ridge preservation. The size of the comparison homes changed since the prior.
Basically, we foiled, that was done just, based on the IGS, now we have, we foiled all the plans.
Oh, okay,
We actually drew it,
I see.
and
Okay.
we got that.
So it sounds like the data's more accurate than now. Okay. What else do we have here? The board still has to decide on ridge preservation and visibility from the view corridor. The applicant has provided, a photo for you to consider that. They are proposing white dove for the siding, so under ridge preservation, typically white is prohibited by your code unless, I think it's clear and convincing evidence that the structure will not be visible from the view corridor and/or owing to development by others, where that can be waived.
White House is up there, right?
I don't remember the
Sure.
block.
Yeah.
There's a beige house, right?
So that's something to think about.
Yeah.
And then as far as the retaining wall that exists at 7 feet, or not exists, but proposed at 7 feet, so eventually those details for design will need to be prepared by a professional engineer and submitted to the building department. And that's it.
Questions for Natalie?
Kelly, you have any?
No, you already did type 2, you've already heard it, and what I have outstanding is whether or not you wanted to hold a public hearing and Ridgeport.
Public hearing?
I don't believe we do one.
No, okay. So I'll offer a motion to waive the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Rich Press?
Riz Preds.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
We're satisfied that it's not going to be viewable from the
Yeah, I
corridor?
think it'll be,
Okay, and we're okay with White Dove in this area?
I am personally.
Yeah, it's fine.
White Dove, I'm seeing some heads. Okay, so I'll offer a motion to waive I'll offer a motion that the project is not viewable from the Ridge Preservation Corridor.
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. Drafting of resolution then, right? I'll offer a motion to have council draft resolution of approval.
I'll second.
Questions? All in favor? Aye. You're 1 for 3 tonight, Larry.
Actually, I was just gonna say, he's on a roll. I thought that-
Hey, man, that's Hall of Fame stats for baseball. 1 for 3.
Oh,
He's got
look.
another one coming.
Hartman, 11 Sunny Lane. Review and discuss materials submitted for ARB and Ridge Preservation for proposed addition to a single-family dwelling. Said property is located at 11 Sunny Lane in Highland Mills and is known as the Village of Woodbury Tax Map, Section 217, Block 5, Lot 12.1. Look, Larry's back.
Who's that?
It's magic.
Larry Hartman, Mark Design, represented my client, 11 Sunny Lane. This was also a repeat. This was in front of the board in August of 2024. Significant changes is, I remember at that time, it was a while ago, the board said they wanted to visit the site. I don't know if they did. They wanted to see it because of the white, it has an existing white siding. This is an addition, this is not a brand new house. Meanwhile, I was able to convince the client to totally remove the bike anyway, so that's something that has been changed. Other than that, hasn't really been changed. Hasn't really been changed.
Only 6,000 square feet. You feeling okay, Larry?
Yeah, man, you got
It's
this
small
great
for you.
cramped house.
No, don't give Larry.
And it looks, if you look at the front, the house gets really, this is the back, on the front. And this is all done. This is all in ground, so kind of just looks at a 1-story. This is existing, basically just to clarify the whole first floor is existing other than
So you're just adding that second floor.
just added the second floor and close the back. Send it to this side, so basically,
Oh, you had a, I was going to say there was a, yeah.
there's a chart. So hey, just if you take a look at the site plan, you'll see the hatch with the angle is existing. This is the existing, that is 3 feet width, or maybe 3.5, I'm not sure that's what the split. And the rest of it is all in the back, other than the half a story, the second floor. And I did divide it into the rendering of it, the new design, coming down a little bit more,
I think it should be the last.
here you go, on the left side, on the left side. So we did remove, the original is white in the entire home. We wanted to keep it, but at the end.
I like that.
I'm okay with that myself.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah. You know,
I see some head, I see head nodding. We're good.
Yes.
you may go 2 for 4, Larry,
I
maybe.
think it is,
You're okay, Mike?
I think it is in the neighborhood.
It does, okay. All right, so, now, you have any quick things, or?
Yeah, one of the things is that, the ZBA has decided on this application for several different variances. In the decision,
We
they.
fixed it.
Oh, you fixed it?
We fixed it.
Okay, it's fixed. So that's good.
The front yard said, yeah, but we're not going beyond what's existing anyway.
Just as,
Yeah, we had a typo.
Okay.
We fixed it.
all right, it's all set. And then, stucco is listed on the ARB form, but it's not shown in the rendering and,
This way, just the entrance.
just on the left-hand
This-
side, okay.
This spot here, the little column?
At the entrance, yeah.
Okay.
That's not like block, that's stucco, right?
Right, so then the only other thing I think is a decision on,
Ridge.
ridge preservation and public hearing. And then Larry, just update the material so that the gross floor area is consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. Public hearing, yea, nay?
No.
Offer a motion to waive the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The applicant has provided views from the view corridor, and if familiar, so we're okay that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll offer a motion that the project is not viewable from a view corridor. No, we're going to waive those requirements.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
And then I will offer a motion to have council draft the draft resolution of approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Maybe down there is for the end of the end of the night is you two down there. Okay. Are you 13 Dartmouth too or no?
If I know Larry was here,
You would have stayed home.
You would have stayed home tonight, huh? Okay. Sorry, set up. Now we're cooking with gas. 13 Dartmouth Road, review and discuss materials submitted for ridge preservation review of filling grading to backyard. Said property is located at 13 Dartmouth in Highland Mills, known as the Villages Sections, 245 Block 1, Lot 107. You've got a,
I have to recuse myself.
yes.
good neighbor.
I'm an HOA, your HOA board member.
I was told somewhere that you live on that. Oh, nice to meet you.
So he's out.
He's out.
My name is David Singer. I moved into this 30 approximately a year ago, and had this in mind to begin with to do backfill property. Basically, the property has, as you see the picture,
I'm getting there. When they scan things in, unfortunately, it becomes one big PDF, so.
so basically where the orange line behind the house is, it runs on an angle, it doesn't run together without this, that over there is a retaining wall, approximately 4 feet tall. I asked the original owner why there's a retaining wall there. He told me because it didn't have so much backfill at that time. I guess he didn't know for sure because the house is old, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I checked the neighbor property on the right side. They have a pool and the whole property is backfilled to the end. And but the last 10 feet, they just have a slope of dirt, with no retaining wall at all. So, and the same thing with 11, the property at 11 on the left side also will have a higher elevation than my property, 13 on the left side.
Yeah, 11, right?
Yeah, 11 has a higher elevation as the corner of my property. I'm encouraging to 11.
Okay.
Where's the retaining wall? Sorry. It's on
Where the
the,
orange line is,
on the rear of the property, no, or back of the building?
basically, I do have a walkout here for the basement, and the retaining will look like this.
Oh, okay.
Is it like in between the two orange lines? I can't see over there,
It's
I'm
the rear
sorry.
of the house.
And are you
Show
looking
me.
to fill in that whole orange box?
So basically, over here, this is gonna be a different, here they just want to elevate it a few, like 2 feet, 3 feet maybe.
Okay, but you're gonna fill that whole box in one way or
Yeah,
another,
yeah.
different elevations.
Based on elevations, correct. And
It's
when
a lot
I
of
have
fill
the
over
property,
here.
meet the HOA of property in the back, if it's an HOA property, it will be just, no retaining wall, just a slope.
You're not gonna put a wall, you're gonna just gradually slope it onto the property?
Last 9 feet will be just slope.
Is it like partially just pushing some of it over to even it out, or is it?
No, this, whatever it's here stays, you're moving the retaining wall, we just put a,
So you're bringing all that fill in.
Can you show me where the retaining
so,
wall is?
like you see it this way.
Either way, thank you.
The retaining wall is currently over here,
Don't know about how they bring fill in.
That's where it is now?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
because this
gonna ask
part is like 6 feet lower than this retaining wall. So the whole property is sloped.
Great, Chris.
Oh, I'm trying to bring up the,
The retaining wall is
a
6
more
feet?
recent image of the area.
Yeah, so you can see it. So there's.
So this is- his is
over here,
13.
Over here is the same property line, so here it starts to slope, and over here it's going down this way. And 11 is higher. 11 is higher than this one. So between 11 and 13, there's a good 3 feet difference in the property.
I think 11 is Perino's old house. I remember that. Are you gonna clear the trees out in the corner back here to bring the fill in?
Those 3 stays, this tree is on the property line, between both properties, it stays. And the only tree I'm gonna move is this one over here, and this one.
The bigger question is where are you getting the fill from?
That's, once this is approved, we'll try to see. I saw that there's a lot of properties.
Well, the reason we're asking, because
I know that we need to approve
if it's not from within Woodbury, it needs to get approved.
that one.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. 'cause
Yeah.
You're bringing a lot of fill in.
What's up?
I tried to do.
What's up?
Tried to,
What about it?
I thought that's where the fill was coming from.
Oh, no, that's the one that he had? That's the backyard. That's what he's filling in. That's,
No, those map directions on the bottom, the last.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
when that was
That was originally, basically a friend of mine who owns an excavation company had 500 loads of, the original plan when I wanted to fill it is you told me I have loads to do it, I come do it for free. So like, let's do it now.
Okay.
But now he's already done the work over there, it's a few months old, so.
Yeah, go talk to Larry, see what he's got for you. Make a deal.
Maybe that'll work something out.
Questions?
I'm only gonna take it if they, I'm gonna pay for it, it's gonna be very expensive. I'm not gonna do it right now, basically, even though it's guys do, just basically on the.
So just to summarize, so we got it right, you're only gonna take out the 2 trees. You're not gonna, there's gonna be no retaining wall in the rear, it's just gonna be a gradual slope. You're not putting a new retaining wall in.
Correct, I'm gonna leave this part,
You're not adding.
You're not adding to it. Okay. So it'll be a gradual slope into the property back there, the HOA property back there. Any other questions?
if I
Feedback?
do wanna do it, sustainable, through the conversation, I hear that there's still 4 feet, above 4 feet, we need to engineer.
Yeah. Yep. Natalie?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of our comments have already kind of been discussed at this point, but essentially the village code allows you to act on grading, clearing, and fill permits with an approved plan. So our memo suggests either that a plan should be provided or at a minimum like a description, like a narrative from you, sort of describing, you know, what the changes in elevation are going to be, how much fill you're going to be importing, you know, describing how you're going to taper the slope off in the back by the last 10 feet, what the area of disturbance is going to be. So if you can submit that, I think, in writing, then that would suffice for the board as a plan that you've reviewed,
Yeah.
you know, although it's not visual, it's descriptive.
Right, something so when the building inspector goes out and he looks, he's gonna be able to see that it's gonna be 3 feet higher than its current elevation and slope for 10 feet, you know, just.
Like the design, like the Teddy makes.
Well, if you want to do it, I mean, if you want to do a design and actually have elevation grades and everything on it, then that would suffice. You wouldn't have to do a narrative. We're trying to give you an option of not having to have
To do that.
a professional engineer come in and do all the grading and all that for you,
Yeah.
but a descriptive narrative.
Yeah, so to not have somebody do that, it would be like basically everything you just said tonight, you know, write it down and submit it, you know? And then I think that, you've gotten a copy of our memo? Good.
From the engineering company.
H2M Architects and Engineers, yes, okay. So, if you can address those comments in that plan or that narrative that you submit, then I think that, that would be sufficient from our purposes. Yeah, like how much fill is being brought in, what the elevation change is going to be, how the treatment would be at the back of the property. Like I said, you talked about a lot of it already, so.
Where the fill is going to come from.
Yeah.
That's for short.
Um,
What was the first question that you asked?
like how much fill you're gonna
So
be
the
bringing.
estimated, I don't know exactly, that's what.
Just put it all in a narrative for
Yep.
us. So we had
Yeah.
everything, how much fill, the elevation differences that you're gonna be adding, subtracting, the grading, all in a narrative.
And then maybe a current picture of what trees you plan to, yeah, a current picture of these are the 2 trees we're looking to take out, and everything else is going to stay the same.
It's actually,
You have a drone? Take a drone picture.
this tree actually is like a lot small, it's not like a big one.
Okay.
This, the back one that I spoke to is like a 45 feet.
So if you just take like pictures of the sides of the property so we can see everything and just label like, this is going to stay and then all this is going to go, just so we have an idea. It's, make it as straightforward as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
That would suffice, right?
I was thinking to, I didn't ask the contract yet, there's a properties on construction on the County 105. Like neighboring the village of Woodbury's property, beginning of 105 next to.
If it's in the village, you could use the fill, correct?
On 105 and where though? Because a lot of that floats in the Palm Tree
Well, that's what
KJ.
he's saying, he's not sure.
But it's next to the
Yeah.
village property.
It's out of, if it's on the other side of the line, it's got to get tested and you have to get a board approval.
Okay, so it's also separate approval, basically.
You would go to the village board with the fill permit saying, not us, we can't approve it. The village board would say, will you go to the village board and say, I want to bring in, I don't know, 500 yards of fill from this construction site. This is how we're going to bring it in, and here are the lab results. Because you have to have it professionally tested, so we've got to make sure you're not bringing contaminated soil in. So if you can get it from within Woodbury, you save yourself a little bit of a hassle.
Speak to Larry.
So the 2-country outlaw has existed basically since.
We'll let you work that out. Any other questions or comments for this, the applicant here? Public hearing?
No?
All right, I'll offer a motion to waive the public hearing for this application.
Second.
Thank you, Evan. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll also offer a motion to type this as a type 2 under secra.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
No GML is needed, and I think we worked out with, so I guess we can do a draft resolution of approval and just pending the applicant getting the, right?
Narrative.
Narrative into us?
Sending the narrative and the photos, yes. I mean, I think that would be very helpful. I thought my own opinion was I thought the application was confusing. I thought the explanation provided tonight clarified the entire thing.
Okay.
So I think that would be very helpful to the board.
Okay, so we'll have council draft the draft resolution pending you getting that narrative into us and the photos of the current conditions and what you're looking to take out. Okay, I'll second on that one.
Second?
Oh, you jumped on
I
that.
jumped.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you, sir. Chris, you can come back in now. Last but certainly not least, 49, actually, it's not the last thing for us, but 49 Greenwich Avenue, ARB, Safar, review and discuss materials submitted for ARB and ridge preservation for modification to door arrangement of an existing single-family dwelling. Said property is located at 49 Greenwich Avenue in Central Valley and is known as the Village of Woodbury's Tax Map, Section 248, Block 1, Lot 17. I will have to make an announcement that this gentleman is my neighbor, but I feel, based on the information provided, that I could still remain impartial and make an informed decision on this application.
Okay.
Thank you for sending.
Thank you. Sir?
You're up.